deans are doing the chairpersoning, sir.
Right, then it's okay.
Okay. So, good afternoon, and I welcome you to the last day of our online workshop on life science interface, the key to sustainability. Our today's resource persons are Dr. K. Namashivayam, sir. Sorry if I'm not wrong. Sorry. Dr. K. Namashivayam, sir, and his topic for the day is renewable energy, the fulcrum of sustainable development. And our second resource person of the day is Professor Pradeep Kumar, Biotechnology Department. His topic for the day is Nanobiotechnology, the future of human healthcare. So, before we give in the mic to sir, the presentation starting, I would like take the privilege to introduce Namashivayam, sir. And of course, it's a privilege. Sir has been very humble. He has given me only a half-page biodata in which there are only very few lines. Sir, this was not fair, but yes, I would read through. He has about 35 years of experience working in Guru Nanak College. He was the former head of the Department of Physics, Guru Nanak College, and he's also been a meritorious alumni of Guru Nanak College by completing his PhD in the Defense Department. He has been in service to Guru Nanak College. He has been the chairman in Board of Studies, University of Madras since 2017. He has also been the chairman of Board of Evaluation, University of Madras from 2015 to 2018. He has been the Academic Council member for University of Madras for the year 2019 to 20. And he has also been the affiliation, that is the auditing committee member for University of Madras since 2017. He has been the coordinator of NAC coordinator during the third cycle of our Guru Nanak College, and he was highly recommended and appreciated for his performance as the coordinator. And he has also been the nodal officer for University of Madras and MHRD. And on a personal note, when I had joined this college, I was introduced to Namashivayam, sir. He might look a little strict, but he is not at all. He is the most warm person I met. And he has been, even though he's from the science department, he has been a high motivator of languages. And I think he takes part in most of the Hindi department programs that we have had. He has always motivated us, supported us, and he encourages all the students around to learn languages, including Hindi. He has been the strongest supporter of Hindi in the college I've seen. So when people say that no, in South there is no support for Hindi, I would point a finger at Namashivayam sir and say, please look at him. So he's the most warm person. And sir, it's a privilege to have you here in spite of your busy schedule and everything. I'm very happy that you accepted it. And thank you, Noorjahan ma'am, for winding in sir also for our workshop. So when you all hear him now, you will know more about how his experience is, though his resume was very short, but I'm very sure when he starts presenting, you will make out his expertise. So sir, you can start your presentation, sir.
Right. Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, one all present here. It's my privilege to be on the platform again with all stalwarts. I thought I got retired, but still I could continue because of you. So at this juncture, I would like to thank the Purvanchal University for arranging a topic that is need of the hour. And my special thanks to Dr. Noorjahan for entrusting this job to me or inducting me into this forum, thinking that I'll be a little bit useful in this concern. I'm much obliged to you all. And Professor Pradeep Kumar is actually very much available. Good afternoon, sir. And in the last 5 days, I have been just listening to you all. And all the topics are so relevant, need of the hour, because we have to think about sustainability in all possible ways. Everybody has their own perceptions and views, so they have been sharing it. And there is no framework for this. To be sustainable, there are so many areas that ought to be exploited, and people have exploited so many in natural science. I think on the other side of it, a little bit of science I would like to extend here in terms of energy. And we all think that sustainability means having a career uninterrupted, getting the energy uninterrupted, and so many things. And normally people have a wrong notion that renewable and sustainable are almost the same. It is not so. There's a big difference between renewable and sustainable. And today's topic is actually towards sustainability. There are so many areas, but being a physics man, I have been interested with a little bit on energy or association or energy's component in achieving sustainability. So let me just make a beginning at this juncture. Once again, I welcome you all to this thing. It is a 5-day seminar going really good. Every day I used to attend and highly informative. And only one thing I found, all are actually more towards research. And today's topic is energy. It is a common man area. So I'm going to disclose things that are supposed to be known. So not in detail. It is going to be an outline rather. So I'm going to touch upon almost all areas which are to be addressed. So I'm just giving a lead to you all. We teachers should take it to our students, and we see that we have a sustainable environment around us in all possible areas. So with these things, I would like to present my topic today. Let me present my PowerPoint presentation, madam. Just to present it. Is it visible, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So today's topic is actually sustainable development in terms of renewable energy. So we need to know a little bit on the terms that are to be discussed today and related to sustainability, what exactly we mean and what it is. And as far as the energy is concerned, what is energy, what is renewable energy and non-renewable energy. So first of all, we should know what is sustainability. See, sustainability is nothing but getting our needs without causing damage to it. What exactly we mean? Anything? Sir, any questions?
No, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay. I got so sustainability is just meeting our own needs without affecting or causing damage to the future generation to get their own needs. So it is not only getting the needs, but also we have to think about the natural resources that we have, and we have to think about the social and economic resources. Sustainability is not just environmentalism. Normally people think that it is a sort of environmentalism. It is not so. We have to discuss. What we have to discuss today? See, the sustainability is a big question mark today on several areas. Just I have taken only very few which came to my mind. So based on that only I'm going to discuss. So the first thing is climate change. And recent papers are actually presenting in the almost over 12 decades, this year we have the maximum temperature change. Then resource depletion, then energy consumption. And we all aware that science is actually developing industry. Industry gives mankind comfort. That means we want to be more comfortable. How do we be comfortable? Only by consuming more energy, because all gadgets are electrically driven and you need to have energy. And how do we get energy? So energy consumption is again a threat to our sustainability. Then it goes without saying population growth, uncontrollable growth, then extinction of species. We have to live with them. We have been with them and we have to be with them. Then only the balance will be achieved. So these are the threats normally we come across. Now, how to overcome these things? There are so many ways. As I said, this is purely an open one where any number of things can be discussed, but I have chosen a path where it goes well with my topic. That is, I would like to concentrate more on energy related issues. So I have chosen some measures which can overcome the threats that has been posed by the earlier slide using appropriate technology. So we have to use technology. So technology is one which will help us to overcome at least, if not everything, the usage of energy. See, in earlier days, you have been using, I think your parents would have used the calculator. Have you seen the normal calculator? See, you would have seen the normal calculators where you will see FX31, FX991, so many names. FX31 is the earlier days one. Normally, it is operated with the two A3 cells or A4 cells. And do you know the consumption of it? It is 0.25 watts to 0.75 watts. Whenever light goes off, we won't search for a touch. Rather, we use what? We use only the calculator. Once you switch on that calculator, it has LEDs. So normally you have a bright light with which we used to find objects. So bright. As a result, what happens, it gets drained exactly in 7.5 hours. Now we have a calculator, FX991 or 911P, so many things are there, and they use a power of 0.0000675 watts. It is almost nil. So how long it will work? Till the battery loses its life. It has such a long life, at least 5 to 6 years. If you put a cell that can last long, then naturally it goes, because it doesn't consume any power, because we use a technology. We have gone for a calculator which requires almost no power. In that way, we save our energy. But on the other hand, we have to consider what happens at the time of manufacturing a cell. It has its own pros and cons. Then next one is 3R approach. The well-known 3R approach: reduce, reuse, and recycle. It is very essential today. You have to reduce the consumption, and whenever power is actually left unused, you have to reuse it. There are so many examples I can cite. In supermarkets, we actually make things to get cooled. We have so many refrigerators. We have so many air conditioners. They are used to reduce the temperature. On one side, you even in a normal fridge, you reduce the temperature by electrical means. Am I right? It is a reverse Carnot engine. It takes energy from the sink and gives it to the source. That means the hotter outside is getting still more high temperature. So ultimately, you reject heat, it goes unused. So we have to find ways and means to make use of that heat. And recycle. Recycle is, of course, it goes with the system wherever it is possible. Let us reuse the object so that we need not go for manufacturing a new one. Then promoting environmental education. Of course, it is part and parcel of education. Children learn it for the sake of marks and not really understanding what it means. But we are supposed to teach them the environmental issues and how to protect all that we have to discuss. Then population stabilization. And this is one thing which has already, we have reached a stage where people are aware of it and the necessary steps are taken by all governmental. Even the individuals are aware of it. Then conservation of non-renewable energy sources. So conservation of non-renewable energy sources, in the sense fossil fuels are used nowadays. And how long you'll be getting it, nobody knows about it till it gets over. So what we have to do is we have to preserve them. We have to preserve them. Let us use it in an optimum way so that we don't waste it. See, normally I used to tell students, whenever you get stopped on a signal, switch off the engine. And we know pretty well that it is going to take 2 minutes. You can switch it off. Now I can even cite a technology. In the recent cars have a special option. If you don't move the vehicle for 30 seconds, it gets off. And it gets on in no time. You need not switch on the vehicle. Once you release the brake, it starts moving. That means you don't waste the energy. At the time of parking, we don't do it. So it gets switched off. So technology can essentially make necessary corrections so that the non-renewable energy resources are not depleted. They are preserved for the future. And usage of renewable sources. Usage of renewable sources, in the sense, we need to address it in detail. What exactly a renewable source, how exactly we can make use of it, all that we have to discuss. So using these measures, I think we can address the threats: climate change, resource depletion, energy consumption, population growth, and species extinction. We will discuss it at the appropriate time. Now, we are going to achieve sustainability through what? By the following things: by conservation of ecosystem. So it is very essential. See, today I want to have more energy. I can totally deforest the thing and I can make use of it. That should not happen. We have to protect it because it is an ecosystem which keeps our planet Earth safe. And in that case, we have to preserve it. So conservation of ecosystem place first that comes to our mind. Then sustainable development of society. Society has to be developed in all possible ways. Wherever it is possible, we can just address it. Then conservation of biodiversity. That is very essential. It needs to be. Then population control and conservation of human resource. Last one goes unnoticed, but it is very essential. One has to consider that one also. So these are the things through which I would like to see sustainability in future. Since the topic given to me is actually energy, I would like to prove that energy is a fulcrum towards sustainability. Energy, what is energy? Whenever you do work, it becomes energy. That is in mechanics. And the energy is available in abundance in nature. But do we use the energy or waste the energy? That is a question mark. If energy is used in an effective way, then it is an efficient usage of energy. So energy efficiency is about using smart technology to run our buildings, infrastructure, and machinery more efficiently, like using a big data to optimize the way we heat and cool our buildings. Of course, people are actually cooling and heating the buildings with data available and optimum. So normally we can switch on the AC and we can have 12 or 14. That is not the way to do. People suggest that there has to be some optimum temperature, taking into exterior temperature, one has to set the interior temperature so that there is no big difference. At the same time, you will be comfortable, not at a higher cost. And then the systems are inculcated in such a way that the AC takes your consumption of heat. How many people are actually lying? What is the heat consumption by the room? Taking everything into account, then it does everything on its own. It auto mode, it gets into auto mode. So this is what I say, technology, the smart technology makes us to get the maximum output with the least power loss. It is just reusing the energy. When our supermarkets cool our groceries, heat is generated. We can redirect that heat to heat our homes and neighborhoods. We can use heat from factories, data centers, wastewater facilities the same way. Everywhere, whenever it goes unnoticed or unused, try to make use of it so that the energy is not wasted, it is used. And in any car, you would have seen big smoke comes out. Do you know the reason why? It is an unburnt fuel. If the smoke comes out in pale yellow or like a steam, it is unburnt fuel that comes out. See, people want to do rush. So what do? They accelerate it fast. In that case, the more fuel is injected into the piston, whereas it is not burnt properly, you don't get the efficiency, rather you waste. So in that case, that fuel, that smoke can be made use of. There's a turbo engines are available where even the smoke is taken into account and it is used to produce heat back. So in that way, we can use energy in an efficient way. And the other one that we have to deal with is sustainable energy. What is sustainable energy? Sustainable energy is derived from resources that can maintain current operations without jeopardizing the energy needs or climate of future generations. The most popular sources of sustainable energy are wind, solar, hydropower, thermal power, and so on and on and on. But like even biofuels, of course, it plays a major role. That's the reason I have given it as a next point. Biofuel is a unique form of renewable energy as its consumption emits climate-affecting greenhouse gases and growing the original plant product uses of other environmental resources. However, biofuel remains a major part of the green revolution. The key challenge with the biofuel is finding ways to maximize energy output while minimizing the impact of sourcing biomass and burning the fuel. So there are few energies, renewable energies, which need to be addressed properly. We have to tap it, we have to use it. Initially, it may look like investing more and more money on it, but you can get the money back because the technology is improving fast. Cost effectiveness is coming into picture, so we can make use of it. So, sustainable energy is one which is available, or we can make it available from the available sources without causing any abrupt damage to the entire climatic conditions, and at the same time, it serves a purpose. So, I would like to discuss some of the basic non-renewable energy sources at this juncture. So, what are the energy sources available? Of course, to start with, biofuel energy, geothermal energy, hydro energy, wind energy, solar energy, and ocean energy, and many more energies are available. Energies are plenty, but on a large scale, to the need of our level, we depend only on major energy sources. And of that, the first one that comes to our mind is biofuel energy, because we started using it from long time. So biofuel energy plays a vital role in it. Then comes geothermal energy. It is of course not available everywhere. It depends upon the place where if it is available, it can be made use of. Hydro energy too. Cost effective energy, very cheap, but still everybody cannot get it. Everywhere you cannot get it. Then wind energy, harnessing the wind gives you energy. Solar energy, everywhere it is available. Making use of it is the best way to have a sustained life. Now, let me just discuss about biofuels. See, biofuels are generally divided into two categories. One is gaseous biofuel, another one is liquid biofuel. Gaseous biofuel has two broad categories. One is biogas, which is nothing but biomethane, and the second one is synthetic gas. Normally, we call it syngas. And in liquid biofuel, bioethanol and biodiesel plays a vital role in it. They are the two broad things which is already in use. Now, the gaseous biofuel. So the biogas, the biomethane is produced by removing the impurities from biogas. The methane generated in the process of anaerobic digestion of organic matter by anaerobes. And synthetic gas, it is a mixture of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and other hydrocarbons, which is produced by partial combustion of biomass. That is synthetic natural gas. Partial combustion is a fuel burning with insufficient oxygen to convert the biomass entirely to carbon dioxide and water. It is used to make methanol, dimethyl ether, and hydrogen. Of course, all are actually sources used nowadays in the industries. The next one is liquid biofuel, bioethanol. Bioethanol is a type of alcohol produced by fermentation, often from carbohydrates made in sugar or starchy crops like corn and sugarcane. Even from cellulosic biomass obtained from non-food sources, including trees and grasses, is also being developed as a raw material for ethanol production. The pure form of ethanol can be used as a fuel for vehicles, but we are not up to that level. At this juncture, we use it as an additive to gasoline to increase octane and enhance vehicle emissions. So we are not using it to the optimum level possible. There are two issues. One is the vehicles are not equipped to handle both. Second one is it is not getting popularized. People have their own reservations in switching from conventional fuels to renewable biofuels. Though it is available in the market, people are scared to use it in the normal day life. Then second one is biodiesel. It is already on the road. Biodiesel, the most common biofuel generated from oils and fats. The pure form can be employed as a fuel for vehicles, but still it is commonly used as a diesel additive in diesel vehicles. So it is used, diesel vehicles. Nowadays we find cars with bioline gas and petrol. So the dual part has come even in case of diesel engines, where you can either go in for the fossil diesel extract, normal diesel extractor from crude oil, or we can use biodiesel. So the engines have the option to use anything of its choice. Then durability. This is one thing we need to address. Whether it is durable, how long we can use it, whether the engines can hold on to it, whether we can have a sustained usage of these things without affecting the engines to a greater extent. Biofuels are compatible with current engine designs and work very well in most conditions. Underline the term most conditions. Normally we don't see the most conditions. At times it doesn't work, so we normally don't risk ourselves on those things. But it is useful in almost all conditions. When biodiesel is utilized as a combustible fuel, the engine durability increases. See that actually? That is the reason why it is used as an additive material. Along with it is that people are good at it. They are going for biodiesels. The reason is it increases the lifetime. There is no need to convert the engine. So the regular engines can be used. Only thing is you have to have a separate container to have the biodiesel. This allows the engine to run for longer periods with less maintenance and reduces overall pollution checklist. This is the biggest advantage of using a biodiesel. See, biodiesel doesn't give you pollution. It doesn't emit that amount of greenhouse gases. Normally, in all vehicles, we find that excessive greenhouse gases are actually sent out, especially the vehicles operating with air-conditioned vehicles, buildings. They are all emitting greenhouse gases. That is the reason why it is getting warmer and warmer nowadays. And pollution plays a vital role. We all have seen it. Pandemic has given us too many lessons. And one is pollution levels have dropped on the day of a curfew. And in Chennai, in Delhi, everything is totally visible. The reason is there is no vehicle population on the road. There is no pollution. It is very clearly seen. So it is a known fact that pollution is mainly by transports. And using a biodiesel, you can minimize it to the maximum extent possible. Engines designed to operate on biofuels produce lower emissions than other diesel engines. Normally, pollution is more on a diesel engine than on a petrol engine. So, in a diesel engine, using biofuels minimizes the emission rate. Then the sources we have to think about. It's very easy to say that biofuels can be used. Will it be possible to get it at a continuous manner? Yes. Most fossil fuels will expire on one day, but biofuels are from manure, corn, beans, switchgrass, waste from crops and plants, and renewable and do not run out any time. So whenever you are running short of the material, you can plant the crop and you can get it. And engineered crops are available. See, in those days, the plants used to grow in 60 days. Now in 22 days, we get the same yield. So engineered crops are there that fulfill the requirements so that you will not be running out of the basic raw material to produce biofuels. So it is renewable and it is a sustained one. It is not going to have an end, as in case of most of the fossil fuels. It is going to expire on a day, and those fossils have been made millions years back. So to get it back, it will take such a long time, and there is going to be a gap where you will be running out of fuels, and that can be gapped only with biofuels. And reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Fossil fuel burns, it produces large amount of greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gases raise the temperature and warm the planet. A way to reduce the impact of greenhouse gases is to use biofuels around the world, which reduces the greenhouse emission by 65%. Tremendous one actually. Using biofuels, one can assume that there is almost no emission of greenhouse gases. But if they are actually giving some carbon dioxide, they are very essential in doing actually photosynthesis, and they are used by the plants to again grow and get us biofuels. So production of biofuels produces carbon dioxide as a byproduct. It is often used to grow the plants that are converted into fuel again. This makes it something close to a self-sustaining system. So this is what we have been addressing. See, you are producing biofuels. At that time, some amount of carbon dioxide is emitted. We don't treat it as a wastage. We rather use it actually. At times, defects are effects. So something which is not useful at that juncture is useful for some other plants to grow, and which in turn helps us to get us fuel. Biofuels are biodegradable, which reduces the risk of contamination and underground water, water during transportation, storage, or of use. So they don't degrade the system where it is actually planted, preserved, and they are not flammable as a normal fuel obtained from a fossil. So risk-free reduction in greenhouse gases are entrusted, or it is seen well in biofuels. Then economic security. So every country doesn't have the crude oil resources. You would have seen the reason was, we have seen US always fighting with USSR, and the Middle East has a hold over so many countries. India depends on so many countries for obvious reasons. End of the day, you come to know that they are all depending only on oil exchange. The people who have crude oil resources dominate the world. So the rest of the countries are depending totally on them. So constant import of oil creates economic imbalance. So in that case, if we are going to use biofuel production, then it is going to boost the demand for suitable biofuel products and strengthen the agriculture industry. So if you are going to go for biofuel production, it doesn't come on its own. First thing is you have to have a healthy agricultural industry. The waste materials are used to produce biofuel. So it is a two-in-one. So we enhance agricultural industry. The byproducts, the waste materials are used. This is what I have been addressing, triple R technology. Reuse, reduce. We are reducing. First one is crude oil resources. We reduce that one. Second one is we are going to reuse it. We are having agricultural industry. The products are used for some purpose. The waste materials are used. They are recycled. They are brought back to the system to get us biofuel products. Then fueling homes, business and vehicles with biofuels are less expensive compared to fossil fuel. Of course, it is not 100% true because in the recent times, they are slightly expensive. But if you see the running cost over a period of time, it is going to have a balance. So you can just have the break even at the earliest. With the growth of biofuel industry, more jobs will be created, which will help keep the country's economy secure. So biofuel production reduces economic imbalance, it increases agriculture, and it ensures economic status, or it has a economic security. So biofuels are very easy. Though we are going to discuss about other renewable energy sources, bioenergy, renewable energies are most sought of, and that is the reason why government is coming up with so many subsidies for people who are making biodiesels and biofuels. But everything will have a side effect. Everything will have an effect. See, for fever, if I take rosin, then my intestine gets affected. I have gastritis. So basically, when you go for one plus point, there is going to be a minus point with it. There are some technical challenges. As it is not a petroleum-based fuel, it works differently. So as far as diesel engines are concerned, it goes well. But since it is a non-petroleum product, not petroleum-based fuel, it works differently in engines developed for petroleum-based fuel. The reason is density of corn-based ethanol is higher than gasoline. So when you have a vehicle running on gasoline or on petrol, normally the injectors will be small. Their orifice is very small. A little bit of thing has to be injected. But in case of ethanol, the density is more. It cannot run through that. And moreover, in cold countries, they get frozen. So you find it difficult to push it through. So in that case, the nozzle has to be slightly bigger. That means you have to have a change on your vehicle. That means fuel injectors must be larger in an ethanol only engine to suit the fuel flow of a comparable gasoline engine. So a gasoline engine getting converted to ethanol is practically not possible. These things cannot be done over journey. It has to be done at the factory level. So practically it is impossible to have that duality using petroleum product as well as the biofuel together in a petroleum engine. Alcohol fuels are good, but still they corrode or damage some of the metal parts and the rubber fittings utilized in gasoline-based engines. So this is an issue. So if I'm going to keep on using alcohol in my vehicle, then I find some spares are getting damaged, corroded. So this is a drawback which needs to be addressed. With the advent of science, everything has a cure, but it is a delayed one. Converting from one fuel to the other in some cases needs a set of new injectors, gaskets, and fuel lines. So these are the disadvantages. When the engine is running, the difference in combustion features between gasoline and ethanol means that ethanol converted engine needs to adjust its ignition time. This is one thing. Normally you have a timing chain that runs in a system that makes everything to happen in unison. We call it ignition timing, and that misses. So it is different for ethanol and petrol. So combustion features slightly change. As a result, the vehicle doesn't work properly. So the timing system has to be corrected. And above all, Generally, diesel engines will find it difficult to start on a cold day. To start a diesel engine on cold weather with biodiesel is difficult, and more was for pure vegetable oil as a fuel in so-called grease cars. See, if I'm going to use a vegetable oil, it gets almost frozen. It is no longer a liquid. It becomes almost a paste. So in that case, we need to have separate heating mechanisms so that you can have a flow of the fuel and the engine works. So a dual fuel mechanism, flushing the engine with petroleum and diesel during startup and shutdown. This is one more thing. You are not so comfortable, though it runs nicely. At the time of switching on the vehicle, it is difficult to switch on the vehicle with biodiesel. So one has to switch on the vehicle with normal fuel. Then you just change it to a biodiesel, run the vehicle for any distance as you wish, and before you stop, you just switch over to biodiesel, then switch it from biodiesel to regular diesel. You switch over, then you have to shut down. See, these things are a sort of constraint on a short run-ups. For long run-ups, it's okay. So, dual fuel mechanisms, flushing has to be done prior as well as after the duration of running. So, you have to do that at the time of startup and shutdown. So, biofuels are generated under different circumstances. Right from day one, over a period of 100 years, this generation is happening. Originally, it was actually generated, the first generation biomass gas, edible biomass, we call it. Then it was from non-edible biomass, then algal biomass, and of course, the fourth generation is actually from solar to fuel, engineered algae gasification. See, originally it was obtained from sugar beet, sugar cane, wheat, corn, and other things. The second generation biomass materials were obtained from non-renewable one or obtained from wood, straw, grass, or waste material, agricultural wastage. The third generation one was obtained from algal biomass, that is microalgae and macroalgae are actually developed from which they started getting biomass. And the fourth generation is actually a solar powered one and is in fact a breakthrough through which we get biofuel. So, biofuel plays a vital role in sustainability. I can just consolidate it this way. It is environmental friendly, so it ensures a good, or it maintain, or it is not spoiling the ecosystem. It is maintaining the ecosystem. And biomass production needs more amount of agricultural products. That means the country has to enhance agricultural activities, which increases employability. Dependence on other countries becomes minimal. And people may think about cattle field. It is not abruptly getting reduced. The rest of it can be used for biofuel generations. And emission levels are less. Efficiency is more. Cost is, though it is not less now, it is going to be less. So, biofuel I can assure you that biofuels will ensure or assure you a sustained life. There will not be any issue in it. As initially said, there will not be any issue if I am going to use biofuel. Only on the part of usage we have issues. And that can be rectified with the advent of science. Then comes, of course, geothermal energy is energy that is possessed by the Mother Earth. It is the hidden energy. The energy that is still coming out of radioactive particles found deep within the Earth. And it is the volcanoes, the burnt volcanoes normally we used to say, are the volcanoes, they are subdued into the material, deep into it. They have no source of coming out, but what they can do is they can just come out in terms of heat. They can transmute heat energy. Very rarely you find pond with mud, with bubbling hot water coming out. They are the areas where you have abundance of thermal energy. And that energy can be easily taken out just by pumping some water deep into it. When water comes out, it gets heated up. So it takes heat energy, and you can convert heat energy into electrical energy, or you can use the heat energy as such. In cold countries, if you have thermal energy, directly we can use the heat to warm up the houses, and it can be used not for cooking. It is generally used for warming of the houses, malls, airports, and other places. So directly you can use the heat, or you can generate electricity using generators. So what are the advantages of geothermal energy? It is environmentally friendly. In the sense, it is not visible. You pour water in, get water out, it gets heated up and make use of the latent energy. You bring out the energy from deep earth and you use it. And huge potential and sustain, since it is coming from earth. The abundant energy can be taken and it can supply you for a very long time. So there is no stoppage of that heat. So continuously one can get heat energy. And the heating and cooling can happen simultaneously. Suppose if you have something, if on a that heating and cooling, in the sense you can cool an object using devices, or you can heat it directly, and it is reliable. Reliable in the sense, once you put up energy plant, it can supply you the energy unconditionally, not change. It will remain as such. So you can rely on geothermal energies. Of course, it is not available everywhere, but no fuel is required. Just to push in, you need a motor to push water deep into it. It comes out with heat, and you extract the heat with the help of boilers. Then you have to run the turbines, and you can make it as electric energy. Or heat can be directly used wherever it is necessary. In almost all European countries, people started using the energy through the pipelines. Heat energy is getting transferred all across. And these are the advantages of geothermal energy, and it is not a common energy to be used by everyone. And there are disadvantages of this. Once you started taking that one, or the energy is not a common energy, everybody can depend on. Location restricted one. So this energy is available, you have to identify whether energy is available in abundance at that point. Everywhere it is not available, so location restricted. The largest single disadvantage of geothermal energy is that it's location specific. Then environmental side effects. See, whenever we change the temperature of Earth, it leads to some environmental changes. Anything that is, whether it is solar, even in case of solar panels, absorbing heat energy raises the temperature of the place, and it is harmful to the ecosystem. In that way, extracting heat from the inner core certainly will have effects, and it is in the early stages of learning. Then, if there is any earthquake, then it causes damage on the system because the ripples happen deep inside the earth. So earthquakes affect us only when it is large in Richter scale. But even a small earthquake can obstruct the absorption of energy from the reservoirs. And being a deep one, mining is so costly, and materialistically it has to be done. So the involved cost is very high, and the sustainability. That is the reason why we are not dealing it in a larger scale. But wherever it is available, we make use of it. So these are the disadvantages. So geothermal energy is not a common man's energy, but still it is an energy which can be used by people appropriately, depending upon the locality. Then comes wind energy. How do we get energy from wind? Wind doesn't possess any energy as such. Only when it is moving fast, it has quantum of motion, we say momentum. The mass with which they hit, the current with which they hit has kinetic energy. And that kinetic energy has to be encashed. How do we get it actually? We normally make the wind to hit the fans, the fins of a wind pump. Normally we call it windmill. When they hit the fins, the kinetic, we harnessing the wind, we call it. We convert that kinetic energy into rotational kinetic energy. When the wind hits it, it is just sliding over the fins, making them to rotate. And when they rotate, it is a rotational kinetic energy, and there is a big gear wheel connected, though it appears to be running at a very slow speed, few RPMs per, few rotations per minute. The gear wheels connected to it make the system to run at a faster rate and produces electric intensity. But originally windmills were not constructed for producing electricity. In Brazil, first people started using it to grind grains. So man started using energy. So grinding is something that you have to do. Instead of going for a grinder, people started grinding is happening at one part. To make the drum to rotate, they used to wind. So wind energy has been used right from day one. Even in yard sheds, actually, wind energy is made use of. Earlier days, people used to have long voyages only with the wind that is available. So with the wind, they normally used to travel. So wind energy can be used for anything from power on boats, battery charging, or electricity to being used commercially. And at this juncture, I would like to add a point. Windmills are not practically used to produce electricity to the needy people or people belonging to that area. We all think that power is a matter of right, but it is not so. For domestic purpose, we can get our power, but for commercial usage, power is not a matter of right. Government has every right to curtail the power requirement because we use a power to make money. Government is not for it. Government gives us subsidy. Government helps us by providing power at a cheaper rate. But all that is only for a normal, common individual and not for businessmen. And that is the reason why in earlier days, industries were not actually brought nearby cities. They go for places where you get energy or where there is no such constraint. People started using. But now, due to obvious reasons, transportation is an issue which really affects the entire ecosystem. So we want to minimize transportation. That means you have to have all factories around you. So you want to have the factory nearby Chennai or you want to have the factory nearby your city. But how to get power? And as far as power is concerned, the devices ought to be certified. There is a factor called the quality factor. Whether you are using the power or wasting the power. Of course, you will be paying the money. That is not a matter. It is not the money that involves. If you are going to use the money, if you are going to use the power, government has no objection. If you are going to waste the power, then they object. So what you have to do when power is not granted to you, but you have a place, you have the resource around, so you want to make use of it. So we construct the building, we construct the industry on and around the city where power is not given to you free. Power is not given. So what normally we can do is we can generate the power at any point as we wish. Now, these type of power stations are coming up. You can have a windmill at Kayathar, Nanganeri, or wherever you have that wind power. Mostly it is going to be on the coastal line. You have wind power and you can install these windmills and you can generate power and give the power to that local area. You can get the same amount of power from your own place using national grid. So you sell the power there, you get the power here. That means you make your own power. So you make your system sustainable, self-sustained power city. So windmill plays a vital role in it because other power stations are too costly to handle with. So windmills are not that much costly. So people who are affordable to have windmills can have their factories at their convenience. So there are few advantages and disadvantages. Advantage in the sense it produces power almost at no cost. Free fuel, so I have to say it's a free fuel. One of the cleanest forms of energy because there is no product you involved in it, so it doesn't affect the ecosystem. Doesn't disturb the farmland operation. This is additional one. If I'm going to have solar panels, it completely upsets harvesting. It completely upsets agriculture. I cannot have both agricultural and solar panel together because once I stop sunlight falling on the field, I don't get any field ailing. All right. But here, as far as these windmills are concerned, they don't obstruct farmland operation. So you can have cultivation, you can have whatever you want. So regular things can happen. In addition to that, you can get fuel. That is, you get a free energy. So any system, as I said earlier, it is going to have disadvantages too. First thing is dangerous to wildlife animals. Once in a while we come across, but anyhow we have to account. We have to take it into account. Dangerous to some wildlife animals. Noisy. Are they noisy? Yes, it was, but now it is not so. Because the advent of gear wheels, soft gear wheels have come into play and they have minimized noise. See, as far as frequencies are concerned, we get disturbed. Ultrasonics will affect the newborn. We don't, because we become half dumb at the age of 12 or 14, you become half dumb, you don't listen to it. But a newborn is getting affected by ultrasonics. Even a bird voice can affect. Similarly, the low frequencies have a tendency to obstruct you. And as the fins are rotating at a very small pace with a low frequency, the noise produced may not be audible, but it can affect. But there are so many theories around that it doesn't affect, but still there is a probability that it can affect. And last but not the least is expensive. Even a normal windmill will cost around 2 crores. So cost is high. So these are the basic disadvantages. Then hydropower, I think you are aware of hydropower. The power associated with water. Either the water has to run fast, the water current can be converted into electric current using turbines. That means it has motional energy, kinetic energy that can be used. Otherwise, if I have a reservoir where it is filled, the stored water can be sent through small tubes. So the water gushes out with a very high velocity, and that kinetic energy can be converted into rotational kinetic energy using a rotor, and from that we can get electric energy, because we all aware that when a coil rotates in a magnetic field, it produces electric field. So earlier days, and this is the cheapest form of energy to the mankind. So hydropower was the largest source of renewable energy electricity till 19. Hydropower offers the lowest cost of electricity across all major fossil fuels and renewable energy sources. Cheapest one. But basically, the mechanism is still the same. The latent potential energy of water at high altitude is getting converted into kinetic energy when it passes through a pipe. And once it falls on a turbine, it rotates a turbine. The turbine is connected to a rotor where you have large number of windings of coil placed in a magnetic field. So coil rotating in a magnetic field gives us electric field, and that electricity can be taken out, tapped out. So what you need to have is reservoir at the highest level. Storage has to be up to the maximum. Greater the height it has, better the potential energy, MGH. More the height, more the potential energy. When it is allowed to come down, you can have even few steps. As it comes down, its velocity increases, half mv square. And once it makes a rotation, turbine to rotate, it becomes half I omega square, omega angular velocity, and that gives you electricity at our requirement. How efficient electricity? Yes, hydroelectricity is more efficient. Hydropower is the most efficient source of electrical energy. See, as far as fuels are concerned, they give maximum energy. If you consider petrol and diesel, they are giving more, they are efficient. Even the best fossil fuel power plants operate at approximately 60% efficiency. But hydropowers are concerned, they are converting more than 90% of the available energy into electricity. That means when I have MGH is 100%, I get 90% of the energy as this one. And if you consider energy, the constraints are actually what? If I consider thermal power station where we burn coal, what are the constraints? How to bring coal to that place? So when coal is not available, we import, and the coal itself is actually harmful to the community in terms of its ash as well as in terms of its fumes. The smoke spoils the entire area. Then the coal has to be transported through mechanism, they spoil it. And above all, when it is burnt, it becomes ash. And how to dispose the ash? Every day you will be using 10 tons of coal, and you get 2 tons of ash. So first day you will have 2 tons, next day you will have 4 tons, and over a period of time, it is going to be a hill nearby. So the production is restricted by the disposal mechanism. We don't know what to do with it. Now people are coming up with a few ideas of using fly ash can be used as what? Bricks that is used in the industry. So basically, hydropower facilities have a very long service life which can be extended indefinitely and further improved. Hydropower providers benefits beyond electricity generation by providing, these are the main things which ought to be addressed. If you don't have a dam, you don't have a control over the flowing river. Whenever it rains, it gushes through. It gives you flood, immediate flood. But when you have a dam, you restrict the flow. So flood control is actually made. And it is not only that, through a pipe, you just channelize water to the people who are in need of it. So irrigation support is extended in all major reservoirs through power stations, and clean drinking water it could ensure all along. So hydropower is affordable. Hydropower provides low cost electricity and durability over time compared to other sources of energy. So I think certainly it is for sustained, or I can call it a sustainable energy. But as said earlier, even it has its own hiccups. Hydropower can also cause environmental and social problems. Reservoirs drastically change the landscape and the rivers they are built on. So normally rivers are flowing, it has its own natural course. And constructing a dam affects the flow. As a result, there is people predict some changes on the course, changes on the landscape, and dams and reservoirs can reduce river flows, raise water temperature, degrade water quality. When it's allowed to run on its own, it has its own natural ingredients. When it is getting stagnated at a point and then allowed to come out, it doesn't maintain the quality. And moreover, the sediments are getting built up and that changes the course of the river. This has negative impact on fish, birds, and other wildlife. So though it is a cheap one, sustained one, it has its own issues on environment. But considering the cost effectiveness and the minimal environmental changes, it is preferred over rest of them. Last but not the least is solar energy. What is solar energy? See, whether we get up or not, sun gets up daily. And almost all areas are getting due share of sunlight. It is an energy, cost-free energy. Though we all think that going out, we get affected by the sun. We go out with a cream to protect ourselves. But to be frank, it protects us from all our crises. Solar energy is protecting us. The reason is, it is just the light that falls on a photo cell, ejects an electron, and if you can make the electron to run through a device, it becomes current. So very easily you can get to photoelectric current using photovoltaic cells. Tiny cells nowadays in schools and colleges are making use of solar. They construct solar cells. In fact, at this juncture, I have to tell, Guru Nanak College has made enormous initiatives towards e-energy, green energy. And in that aspect, the college has initiated some solar projects where children were made to assemble their own solar kits, and seeing that getting a 100 watts bulb glowing with their own constructed solar, they get immense pleasure and they all think that they are super scientists. We sow that seed. The reason is we want them to take it back home and have a solar panel at their top. So solar technologies convert sunlight into electrical energy either through photovoltaic panels or through mirrors that concentrate solar radiation. Mostly solar cells are used to produce electricity, or directly that heat can be used to boil using solar cookers and all. Generally, it is a solar cell, semiconductor cell with a thin silver oxide coating at the top. You have a transparent layer, then light falls on it, light gets into it, and it possesses energy is equal to Hnu. So it releases an electron. The electron that cannot go back through the same material comes out through the external wiring that comes out as electric current. So very easy one. There is no big physics behind that one. Very easily you can get it, and now it is very cheap. There are, once again, as far as solar energy is concerned, there are many advantages as well as few drawbacks. It is, let me first, as usual, start with the advantage. Non-polluting once installed. As there is no moving part, long installation life. Because if I'm going to move it, as far as windmills are concerned, turbines are concerned, they need to shut down the institution for some time for mechanical maintenance. But in case of solar panels, it is not so. Once installed, it is going there forever. And every solar panel has almost 25 to 30 years, and that the solar energy decreases by 0.5% per year. So it goes unnoticed. No moving parts, so long installation life, and replaces fossil fuel, reduces emissions. There is no emission out of it, and generates jobs. Now, solar industry has inducted lakhs and lakhs of people on installation, maintenance, production. The solar panel producing unit is again an industry where large number of people, so human resource is made use of in the right way and totally renewable as long as the sun shines. Reduces overloaded national power grids. See, normally when you draw more power, then the grid gets overloaded and at times it goes off. But it can be avoided because you produce energy then and there and it gets distributed in localized area. So transmission losses are minimal in case of solar energy. And what are the drawbacks? I should not say it is a disadvantage, it's a drawback. Pollutants released during manufacture. See, solar panel giving electricity without pollution, but producing a solar panel is highly harmful, especially people who are there. It makes use of so many toxic chemicals. So people who are working there are bound to get affected by it. So it has a toxic issue with respect to the people who are working on it. Difficult and expensive to recycle. Yes, at the time of installation, it's very easy. But what to do with the wastage? Just like nuclear energy is very effective, very cheap. But what to do with the wastage? That is the biggest issue. Similarly, using solar panel is so nice. But what to do with the wastage? So you cannot recycle it so easily. That is a cost involving factor. Output depends on weather. Very rarely it happens. Normally we find sunny day, especially in Chennai, you have hottest. So all the time we have. But at times we have a weather where if food is cloudy, then the yield is less. So you cannot solely depend on solar energy. Expensive to install. Yes, the energy is cheap, but installation cost is really high. It is around, for 1 kVA, it is around 53,000 rupees. And 1 kVA will give you 5 volts per day. So if I'm going to have 10 kilowatts installation, I get 50 units daily. So 50 units of electricity will cost on a normal basis around 500 rupees, but the installation cost will be around 30,000, 30 lakhs. So affordable people can make use of the energy and they get cheap energy. So these are, and they cannot store electricity. And because the reason is it depends only on sun, which is available during the day, and during night, getting that energy is not possible. So we have discussed a little bit on sustainable energies, or the energies which lead to sustainability in mankind. I would like to discuss a little bit on sustainability. See, when I say energy, how to produce energy, how to distribute energy, and how to use energy. All that has to be done in the right way, then only one can ensure sustainability. Production of energy, we have to depend on renewable energy sources. Distribution is concerned, yes, that is again, in most of the equipments, machineries are working only with electricity. So basically the problem is distribution of energy, getting electricity at a metro dam, getting energy at a hydroelectric power station to be transmitted across several thousand kilometers to a place where it is in need. How to transmit distribution of electricity. Then when it comes to the home, we have to use it properly. So production of energy, we have discussed enough. Using biofuels, thermal, hydro, wind, solar, all that is actually done without affecting the environment to a greater extent, without spending much energy, without depleting all resources, not polluting, all that is fine. Then how to distribute? Let us just take electricity. And if we send electricity across a wire, preferably it should be an alternating one and not a direct current, because direct current heats up the wire and most of the energy is lost as heat. Okay, let us send it in terms of AC. And when you send it as AC, normally we come across a defect called the skin effect. Just these are, I want to share these things to a normal individual so that everyone can do these corrections at your home level. In turn, we do play a role in sustainability. Normally, the skin effect is an effect which occurs on a wire when current passes through it. We assume that it is passing through the entire wire. Resistance of the wire is inversely proportional to area. Bigger the wire, smaller the resistance. We are all aware of it. When current passes through the wire, it doesn't pass through the entire wire. It prefers the skin. It skips the center. So what happens to effective area? That decreases. As a reduction in area, resistance increases, it gets heated up. So normally using a single lead wire will make electric losses, whether it is transmission or at the time of usage. So what do we have to do? We have to go in for multi-core wire. Bunch of wires. You all would have seen, you just see your wiring pattern at your house. If you find any open sleeve, you just see that it contains large number of strains, 32, 42, 62 and all. More the strains, more the area through which current passes, less the resistance. So mostly you use the power, but you don't waste the power. At what cost? Naturally. If I'm going to use a wire of 8 strains, it costs around 250, 2 rupees and 50 paise per meter. And if I'm going to use a 32 strain or 48 strain, then it is going to cost me around 15 rupees per meter, 5-fold. So normally contractors, builders prefer a cheap wiring, but spend more money on it. Get a quality wire with more number of strains on it. Increase the effective area, it will have longevity, it has more life, and you don't waste the energy. You have invested for some good purpose. So every individual should think in terms of investing money on good quality electrical products so that you don't waste. And whenever we buy a product, the products are available from 100 rupees to 1000 rupees. There has to be some difference. What is the difference? Quality factor. We call it as power factor. If I'm using a resistor, all the energy given is wasted. If I'm using an inductor or a capacitor, there is no loss of energy. We call it wattless current. You find the bulb glowing without consuming current. Is it practically possible? Yes. But theoretically, it is not possible. So we try to go towards it. How? By using more of coils which has good inductance than resistance. In that case, the power factor is good. In that case, the cost increases, but consumption of power is less. But one has to think on these things so that we don't waste the power. Power loss can be minimized. And second one, I would like to discuss, policy holders play a vital role. Policy holders go for policies without taking into the constraints, conditions prevailing in the local area. I want to construct a windmill. Can I construct it at my home? No. I have to consider so many things. When wind has that much of energy, it has to be harnessed. So you have to find a place where you have to go in for it. And if you have less solar light, you should not go for it. So whenever people are actually going in for policies, they have to consider how to get clean energy at the maximum level without affecting the local situation. So policy holders play a vital role in getting renewable energies, and only at times laws can enforce these changes. It is not just the information or knowledge that we have is not sufficient. We need to have too many people knowing what exactly renewable source and sustainable resources and how to make use of it. And for which the courses ought to be brought in where you have more amount of energy component. Children should learn about energy, efficient energy, sustainable energy. All that should become part and parcel of our curriculum. Then decarbonizing. I think with this I can stop my lecturing. This is one thing which we all needed to know. Decarbonizing. So this is one thing which has to be addressed because there are two things which really makes our planet Earth worry. One is decarbonizing due to transportation and decarbonizing due to construction of buildings. 27% of all global energy related carbon dioxide emissions come from transport, and 20% comes from emission from construction of building. And it is actually measured that in next 40 years, 230 billion square meters of new construction is going to come, which is nothing but addition of one more Paris to the planet Earth. How can it bear? As we are going to have more buildings, to that extent you are going to spoil. That means the construction machinery ought to be modified. I'll just brief you here. One is a potential in energy efficiency and electrification in a 16-ton conventional excavator. Of course, you have been seeing it everywhere now. Earlier days, seeing an earth mover on the road is not possible, but we find the earth movers almost in all our roads with a different name. It is used for different purposes. And to do a unit of productive work, and if you see a normal excavator, it spends 8.3 units. So next generation came where the Diesel engines were replaced by electric drive, and hydraulic hands are used to do productive work. In that case, the energy was reduced to 8.7 to 3.7. And now the electrically driven machines using productive work, not with the hydraulics, but with the digital source. Now the cost is around 1.9. See the difference from 8.3 to 3.7 and 3.7 to 1.9. So this is what we are supposed to do. It is not a matter of producing energy. It is not a matter of disposing or delivering the energy to the needy people. And it is more on the end user to use it effectively. If they use it effectively, then we will have a sustained growth. We will have a green planet with all our comforts unturned. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I thank one and all. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. K. Namasyam.
Yes, I am.
Yes, sorry. For giving an insightful lecture on a very important issues of us, that is the renewable energy, the fulcrum of sustainable development. I hope that our fellow participants have learned a lot from you. You have discussed different form of renewable energy available in our environment, and you have also connected it with the sustainable development goal of India as well as the world. Thank you, sir, thank you, sir, again for giving me such a beautiful lecture. We look forward from more from you in our next program.
Certainly, sir. Certainly.
Now I'm looking. Now we are moving forward. We are running short of time.
Yes, sir. I have to personally say sorry to Pradeep Kumar, sir. I have taken 7 minutes from you. I'm sorry.
Now I request my fellow research scholars, Nahida, to just welcome our next resource person, Professor Pradeep Kumar, sir. And give a brief introduction about him.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, all. I feel elated to introduce our next speaker, Professor Pradeep Kumar. Honestly, when I was going through Sir's CV, I had a difficulty in summarizing it. It is so impossible to mention his every single accomplishment because there are a lot. Hope I do justice to your introduction, sir. Sir is a professor in Department of Biotechnology, VBSPU, with a vast experience of 22 years of teaching in Masters, 8 years of experience in PhD, and 3 years in BSc. He has even mentored more than 50 students for dissertation. Professor Kumar did his BSc from CCS University, Meerut in 1995 in CBZ, Masters from IIT Roorkee in 1997 in Biotechnology. After that, he qualified CSIR JRF and got selected as lecturer in Department of Biotechnology in VBSP University in January 2000. He obtained his PhD degree from VBSP University in topics genetic polymorphism of red blood cell enzymes and antigens in UP population. Sir has been awarded by several fellowships such as Fellowship of International Society for Non-Sciences, Chennai, DBT Fellowship, CSIR, JRF from University of Roorkee, etc. He even is honored by Young Scientist Award in an international conference held in Dehradun. Sir has been invited to many national and international symposiums as a keynote speaker and also has got many prizes in several paper presentations. Professor Kumar has completed many projects funded by UGC and university itself, which was mainly focused on human health. Sir has almost 70 research papers published in many reputed journals. Some of them are Silver Nanoparticles Properties and Application in National Science Day Souvenir VBSPU, Methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase gene C67TT polymorphism and breast cancer risk, evidence for genetic susceptibility published in Metagene. It was even cited in policy document of UK. He also has an article cited by Wikipedia. Apart from this, he has contributed in publication of many book chapters and edited books in series entitled Recent Advances in Biotechnology. Sir has even organized many events. Professor Kumar is also a reviewer of many reputed journals such as Frontiers in Genetics, Frontiers in Psychiatry, etc. Apart from this, he is a member of many committees such as he was coordinator of Office for International Affairs of VBSPU in 2021, proctor of university from 2013 to 2015, and so on. Sir was also very athletic during his educational period and has won many titles. Thus, he was the member of Sports Council of University too. Sir will be talking about nanobiotechnology, the future of human healthcare. So without building more anticipation, I would like to welcome Professor Pradeep Kumar. Thank you so much, sir, on bestowing us with your own presence. Over to you, sir.
Pradeep sir, over to you.
You are not audible, sir. I guess it's on mute.
Hello, my voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is there any noise or?
No, sir, it's clear.
It's clear. So I'm starting sharing my presentation. I think my this screen is showing that Namah Shivayam sir is still presenting.
Sir, kindly share.
Sir, once you start presenting, it will automatically start presenting, sir. You can start presenting, sir. It will automatically take over.
Okay. Are you able to see the slides?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it moving?
Yes, sir. It's moving, sir.
Okay. So to begin with, first of all, I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nirmala S. Maurya of Veer Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University. Ma'am has been a source of inspiration for all of us. Not only she is a dynamic leader, in addition, she is a very good human being. And she always encourages us to take part in all the academic endeavors that bring laurel to the university. Secondly, I would like to thank Mr. Manjeet Singh Nair, General Secretary and Correspondent, Guru Nanak College, Chennai. Then Dr. M. G. Raghunathan, Principal, GNC Chennai. The convener of the workshop, Professor Ram Narayan Ji, Dean, Faculty of Science, Veer Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University. Dr. Noor Jahan Ji, Dean, Faculty of Science, Guru Nanak Dev College, and to the most energetic persons of the workshop, that is the organizing secretary, Dr. Dolly and Dr. Manoj. Thank you for providing me this opportunity. And after listening to such a good lecture from an experienced person, it becomes difficult to present your work. Now, I would like to tell you something about nanobiotechnology, the future of human healthcare. So the title of the workshop is Sustainability and Sustainable Development. So initially, I would like to go into what sustainable development is. So according to the UN, sustainable development has been defined as development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So we have to develop all the things, but we have to take care of the future generations. So the UN has decided 7 sustainable goals, and if we can achieve these 17 sustainable goals, if these 17 sustainable goals can be achieved, we can transfer our world. That starts from number one, that is no poverty, to the participation for the goals. They are 17. I'll be focusing my talk on the third one, that is good health and well-being. So goal three, that is we have to ensure the healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. That is from infant to the older age, we have to think about it. And we have to create a society, infrastructure so that everyone lives healthy. So how can we do that? We can increase the life expectancy, like following healthy lifestyles, and if there are certain diseases which can be managed, we can do a management of those diseases. Then second, fully eradicate a wide range of diseases. This is specifically for those diseases which are infectious in nature, like we have eradicated smallpox by vaccination nearly in 1980, and since then we haven't got any case of wild smallpox. And then the last one is address many different persistent and emerging health issues which are going to affect the human population. So uh, if we want to address all these, how we can address or what is the role of technology into this. So I will quote here, in the economy of nature, if any species does not become modified and improved in a corresponding degree, with its computer it will be exterminated. So if you want to have a good life, we have to modify every day, we have to improve every day, and this is for the sustainable development. So, if we talk about sustainability, we have to uh, give quality education, and through this quality education, we can encourage the younger ones for research, innovation, and whatever we are doing, whether it is we are providing quality education, we are doing research, we are innovating things, everything has to be market driven, because whatever we are doing in research and innovation, it will benefit the public. And if the market is available, and if these things are available in I mean easily available in the market, that will help to attain our goal. So how technology can attain these goals, I would like to tell you what technology is. So after having a particular scientific knowledge, whatever method, whatever system, whatever devices we make, that should have a practical purpose, and that too for human welfare. Like we are having biotechnology, so we are using the biological system for the human welfare. Information technology, we are all aware of that. We are using a lot of information technology for human welfare, like as from hospitals to all other places for communicating with each other. Then comes nanotechnology and nanobiotechnology. So it is expected that these technology like biotechnology, nanotechnology, and nanobiotechnology will play a key role in the sustainable future. So how come? Because whatever we will design in future for the industry, it will be less time taking, it will be more economical and more efficient. Techniques will be available when we will use biotechnology, nanotechnology, and nanobiotechnology. Because earlier conventional methods, they are all having limitations, and we have to overcome these limitations so that we can have a sustainable development by using all these technologies. So the next thing comes the economic situation, whether these technologies can improve the economical situation. Yes, because these technologies have a wide range of applications in medicine, in healthcare, and other industries. So high production of these things, that is medical instruments, medicines, healthcare products, and sale and associated employment, that will be there when there will be high production and sale, the employment will be generated, and this will be substantial. This will have a substantial impact on the economic situation of the world. So I would just like to introduce, because many of us are here are not from the biotechnology background. Basically, I just want to introduce about the biotechnology. Basically, it is the integration of natural sciences, that is, we are talking about biology and engineering sciences, in order to achieve the application of organisms, cell, parts thereof, and molecular analogs for products and services. So what we are doing, we are basically integrating two sciences so that we can make products for the human welfare. And in the recent times, you all have seen that during this 5 days workshop, everyone talked about the industrial biotechnology, the animal biotechnology, the microbial and environmental biotechnology, and also the plant and agricultural biotechnology. But today, I'll be focusing on health and medicine biotechnology, because all these biotechnology areas are having a lot of applications for human welfare, and most of the speakers have discussed that. So I'll be focusing on the health and medicine. Whenever we talk about the success of a technology, we always talk about the sector, whether this sector is producing a kind of employment, or the products are easily available in the market, they are reaching to the poor. Yes, the biotechnology sector in India, and in the recent news, we have seen that India's biotech sector grew eightfold in 8 years, and that was said by Prime Minister Modi ji when he went to inaugurate some event, and this was covered by all the newspapers across the country. So that means biotechnology sector have a lot of scope, and I'll be focusing on monoclonal antibodies, because there are many applications of medical biotechnology, but it will be, it is not possible to discuss it within this stipulated time. So I'll be discussing only monoclonal antibodies, so that you will be aware of the fact that whatever kits you are using, whatever medical facilities you are availing nowadays, and that what kind of technology they are using. So monoclonal antibodies, basically antibodies are proteins that are produced by our cells, like B cells, they produce antibodies molecules against a particular antigen. And during COVID period, I think everyone knows what is an antigen. Any organism that enters in our body and produces a kind of disease or is threatening to the body, our cells, the specific immune cells, they produce antibody molecules, and many of the cells, they produce antibody molecules to eradicate that particular antigen. But if antibodies are produced by a single type of B cell, we call them monoclonal antibodies. So the most important thing is that whether we will be able, or whether we were able to produce these monoclonal antibodies outside the system, that is outside the body. Yes, in 1970s, Kohler and Milston, they generated monoclonal antibodies by using hybridoma technology, and since then, you can see this was in news on 5th May 2021 on Nature Review and Drug Discovery, that FDA approves hundreds monoclonal antibody products. So these monoclonal antibodies are having a lot of applications, because now we are able to produce them, and these are having a lot of applications in research. Those who are from the life sciences background, medicine background, or a biotechnology background, they must be realizing, and they must have used these monoclonal antibodies in their research, whether we are looking for a particular protein, a particular antigen, they are using it. And Western blotting also, we use these monoclonal antibodies. So it is having a huge market. Then comes the diagnosis, and unless until it is available in the market and easily accessible, no one believes that whatever kind of technology is available, that is helpful, or that is a good one. So in diagnosis, I'll show you some of the tests, or most of the kits that are available in the market that gives very quick result. They use these monoclonal antibodies. The advantage with these monoclonal antibodies is that they are highly specific, and they can even detect a single molecule from the sample. And then comes the therapy. That is the most important part, because uh, whenever we are diagnosing a particular disease or a condition, the therapy is the most important one. So whether monoclonal antibodies, they play a role in therapy, yes, they are playing a huge role, and most of you might have heard of this convalescent therapy during COVID times. And so I'll be discussing these therapy, monoclonal antibody therapy, in the next slides. So let us talk about diagnosis. If diagnosis of a particular disease or a medical condition is delayed, there is a lower chance of cure and survival. And we all know that some or the other person, we might be knowing that if a particular disease is diagnosed in a later condition or at a later stage, there were lower chances of cure and survival. Then there are greater problems associated with treatment and higher of care and hello. There is some kind of noise.
Krishna, can you switch your mic? Krishna, can you switch off your mic? Okay, so continue, sir.
Okay, so why I'm talking about diagnosis, because there is I mean, there is a great importance of early diagnosis. In case of any disease, half of the battle is won if it is detected at an earlier stage, because what it does, it provides best chance for successful treatment, and especially in the case of cancer, it improves the outcomes by providing care at the earliest possible stage, and is therefore it is an important public health strategy. Then again, whenever a person is diagnosed with a particular disease, especially cancer, it's a trauma for the family also. So it also helps the patient and their family members to receive practical information, advice, and guidance as they face new challenges. And again, it provides a time for planning to the patient and their family so that they can get a particular treatment. So just to give an idea of how many antibodies, molecular antibodies are there in the diagnosis, and these all kits are available in the market. You can go and you can search if you find it interesting. There are many assays like radioimmunoassay and enzymatic immunosorbent assay, we call it as ELISA. All of them, they use molecular antibodies in diagnosis, and for the diagnosis and for the I mean uh, for the diagnosis of insulin, humanochorionic gonadotropin, growth hormone, progesterone, thyroxine, triiodothyronine, thyroid stimulating hormones, and several other tissues and cell products. And you might have seen a pregnancy kit and blood group typing. They all contain monoclonal antibodies in its very simple methods, and within few minutes they give the results. So this is the major advantage of biotechnology, that has proved that this kind of technology can help you give a fast result, fast diagnosis, or and if a particular disease is diagnosed earlier, that will be beneficial for the patient. Then comes monoclonal antibody in therapy. So there are many. I have listed a few just to give an idea. Like Humira, this is again a monoclonal antibodies, and it is used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, plaque psoriasis, and many other diseases. And you can see a simple injection can do the thing. And once it is being administered, we can treat, if it is an early stage of these diseases, we can treat them. Then there is another one, that is Keytruda, and it is a humanized antibody. Again, it is used for cancer therapy that treats melanoma, lung cancer, head and neck cancer, Hodgkin lymphoma, stomach cancer, cervical cancer, and certain types of breast cancer. Again, it is given by slow injection in a vein. Next one is Herceptin, and it is again a monoclonal antibody used to treat breast cancer and stomach cancer. So these all are available in the market, and I'll just show you their production and their, the growth that this particular industry has shown in the recent times. So, and then there is Opdivo. Again, it is used for to treat a number of cancers like melanoma, lung cancer, malignant and pleural, mesothelioma, renal cell carcinoma, Hodgkin lymphoma, head and neck cancer, urothelial carcinoma, and many others. So uh, I've shown you a few examples. Now let us talk about the global monoclonal antibodies market and what is expected. And most of you might not have seen the 10 best-selling drugs that were available in 2018, but let me tell you that 7 out of 10 best-selling drugs were monoclonal antibodies. And a lot of industry, a lot of companies have invested into them, like Abbing, AstraZeneca, Bristol Myers, GlaxoSmithKline, Johnson & Johnson, Novartis, Pfizer, and Sanofi. And it is expected that this particular the market, that is the monoclonal antibody markets, is continue to dominate the pharmaceutical market in the near times. And the next slide shows that it is estimated a value of $114 billion in 2021. So you can see the growth in 2021, it was around $114.4 billion, and which is expected to grow up to $200 billion in 2024. So you can see the market is growing. That means we are producing these type of biological products, biotechnological products, and the market is ready to carry them. So if it is available in the market in huge number and the demand is more, that means we are treating a lot of population with these kind of technology. And then let me tell you the trends, what was shown by some of the research, that in 2024, most of the monoclonal antibodies that are produced, most of them will be for oncology. The second number comes musculoskeletal, then immunomodulators are there, and then for the central nervous system. There are many, the list is long, but for the sake of the simplicity, I've shown you just 4 diseases that are going to dominate in the future. And we have to take care of all these, and monoclonal antibodies is taking care of all these things. The top best-selling monoclonal antibodies in 2018, it was Humira, then Keytruda, then Herceptin, and then Avastin. So you can see, because these monoclonal antibodies are treating a lot of cancers, so they are being used by the doctors and the medical fraternity. So after biotechnology, let me introduce to nanotechnology. As you all know, this is a Greek word, and it means dwarf. So 1 nanometer is equal to 1 billionth of a meter, that is 10 to the raised power minus 9 meter. And if you want to compare it, you can compare a human hair is approximately 80,000 nanometer wide. So now you can see how small the nanometer is. Now, why we are talking about nanotechnology or nano? The size range that holds so much interest is typically around 100 nanometer to sometime in some of the references you will see it is 1 nanometer, and some of them they say it is 0.2 nanometer. So why we are talking about this technology, why there is so hype about this technology? Because materials like gold and silver can have different or enhanced properties such as reactivity, strength, and electrical characteristics compared with the same material at a larger scale. For example, if you are having 100 micrometer gold particle and 100 nanometer gold particle, you will find it will be having a different kind of property, and these nanoparticles can be utilized for various biomedical applications. So you can see here the effect of nanoparticles on the colors reflected. If on the left hand side you can see the gold particles which were shown in some of the figures, that earlier the cathedrals they use glass windows, and they used to have a colored glass, that is they were having dichroic effect. So in those you can see they were having gold particles in glass, and if the size of a gold particle is 20 nanometer and the shape is spherical, the color it reflects is red. And the same gold particle, if it is having a 50 nanometer size, and again the shape is spherical, it reflects a green color. Then again, if the size is increased, that is 100 nanometer, and the shape is here again it is spherical, it reflects a yellow color. Same with the silver particle. So you can see the material is same, the gold is same, the silver is same, but it is having a different kind of properties at a particular size. So that is why this technology is having so much of interest. The scientists are so much of interested in this particular technology. And let me introduce the person, the one who gave the idea of nanotechnology. What he said that the biological example of writing information on a small scale has inspired me to think of something that should be possible. He is Richard Feynman, and in 1959 at the California Institute of Technology, he gave what is considered to be the first lecture on technology and engineering at the atomic scale. That is, there is a plenty of room at the bottom at an American Physical Society meeting at Caltech in December 1959. So what he said that biology, the biological example of writing information, that is DNA, RNA, and proteins, they are so small we cannot see them with naked eyes, and it has intelligence. Uh, if we are able to create this small machinery or machines, will be whether we'll be able to make them. If we can make them, we'll be having a lot of application of that, because nature has played the game at nano levels for billion of years, building materials with atomic precision, like DNA, RNA, protein. So uh, before going into nanotechnology, I just what nanoscience is. Nanoscience is the study of phenomena. So here we are studying the phenomena and manipulation of material at atomic, molecular, and macromolecular scale, and where I told you the properties differ significantly from those larger scale. So what nanotechnology is, how nanotechnology is different from nanoscience, because here what we do, we are finding useful application of these nano materials by observing, measuring, manipulating, assembling, controlling, and manufacturing. That means nanotechnology is the design, characterization, production, and application of structures. So unless until we are having application of a particular technology, that is of no use for us. So we are finding application of these structures, devices, and system by controlling the shape and size at a nanometer scale. So most of you must be thinking that this nanotechnology is new, but let me tell you, this is an old technology. In the pre-modern, we can find pre-modern examples of nanotechnology in 4th century. The very good example is Lycurgus cup, which is in Rome at British Museum. It is an example of dichroic glass. So you can see here, it is the same cup, and it is giving different colors when reflected, if it is lit from the outside and when it is lit from the inside. So once it is giving a green color, if it is lit from the outside, that is the reflected light, that is green color, and red purple light when the light is transmitted, that is lit from the inside. So this is a phenomenon of dichroic glass, and the analysis was done in 1990 using transmission electron microscopy for the phenomena of dichromies, and it was found that due to presence of nanoparticles, so 50 to 100 nanometers, this glass is showing this, this cup is showing this kind of property. So then again, the X-ray analysis was done, and it was shown that it contains 7:3 ratio of silver and gold alloy, and also contained 10% of copper. So you can see these nanoparticles were giving a difference. So this was in the 4th century. And then from 13th to 18th century, you can see Damascus saber blades, and they contained carbon nanotubes and cementite nanowires, which provided these saber blades strength, resilience, and the ability to hold a keen edge. So, but now we are talking about this technology. So what is new to respect to these nanomaterials? It is the capability to control, whether we can control the material at such a level. We are not able to see it by naked eyes. So we need some kind of technology, and if you because seeing is believing, what everyone knows. So it is the capability to control the production and making of engineered particles with a specific size, shapes, property for a particular application. So the modern era of nanotechnology is considered when with the invention of scanning thermal microscope in 1981 and 82. Gerd Binning and Henrik Rohrer, who invented this microscope at IBM Zurich Research Laboratory, and then this particular they got a Nobel Prize for this particular invention, and then this invention led to the discovery of AFM, that is atomic force microscope. And in 1986, Gerd Binning, Calvin Kate, and Christopher Geber, they invented atomic force microscope, which has the capability to view. That means we can view the nanoparticles, measure and manipulate materials down to fraction of a nanometer in size, including measurement of various forces intrinsic to nanomaterial. So now we can see, so we can manipulate it, and accordingly we can make these nanoparticles. So the next discipline comes, because initially I started with biotechnology, then it was nanotechnology. Now it's a combination of these two, that is nanobiotechnology. So it's a discipline in which tools from nanobiotechnology are developed and applied to study biological phenomena. I have taken the medical field, and there are many applications. I mean, if you talk about environmental biotechnology, animal biotechnology, plant biotechnology, everywhere it is having this application. So why we are talking about the tools and technology? Because these tools and these technology will be having a high sensitivity, high specificity, high reliability, high reproducibility, and then point of care will be, we can make instrument, we can take them at the point of care, the portability and the robustness. All these properties are required for a particular equipment nowadays for a medical field, so that we can provide a good healthcare system to all, I mean, the needy one and to all the populations. So coming to a very simple example of nanobiotechnology, here you can see this is a encapsulated liposome. This is a very good example in which a cancer treating drug, that is doxorubicin, is packed into a liposome, and to this liposome we have attached different things. You can see an antibody molecule is attached to it. So here you can see the first part, that is the nanotechnology, because liposomes are nanoparticles. We can attach a monoclonal antibody to this, and into this particular liposome we can encapsulate a particular type of drug, and this monoclonal antibody will directly go and bind to a receptor which is present on the cell and can deliver the drug directly. Uh, this is how we are trying to make a lot of encapsulated liposomes, I mean lot of drugs, so that a small amount of drug is treated, and there is no side effect of that particular drug. So what are the advantages of nanobiotechnology in drug delivery? Basically, it's precise control of nanoparticle features like shape, size, and then payload flexibility. We can increase the number of the number of dose, or the number of particle, that is the medicine, and this flexibility can provide us to see whether this particular medicine is having a specific effect, or it is causing some adverse effects. So one of the important thing is targeted delivery. Here you can see a liposome containing a medicine can directly go and bind to the cancer cell, and it is not going to affect any nearby cells. What happens in the case of cancer earlier, whatever chemotherapy was given, it not only kills the cancer cell, but it also affects the nearby cells, damaging them. So with the use of nanobiotechnology, we can have a targeted delivery of encapsulated drugs like doxorubicin and paclitaxel, DNA, small interfering RNA, mRNA, and protein drugs. Next, we can improve the drug therapeutic index. That means the less amount of adverse effect it can have, and the minimum dose which can treat the particular disease. Then we can have the stability, which is a very big issue in drug delivery. Solubility, circulating half-life. That means once the drug is given, how much time it retains in the body and how much effect it is producing. And then tumor accumulation, that this particular type of drug can only go to the cancer cell and accumulate there for a longer time, so that it can kill the cancer cells. And then again, the nanobiotechnology advantages in diagnosis. So now we can do a lot of in vivo imaging. Most of you might have heard of MRI and all these kind of technique. And what we do for in vivo imaging, we use a dye to get a particular signal, whether the organs or the cell is having a particular type of problem, whether the particular dye is going to bind to a particular receptor or not. So in this case, nanobiotechnology has a very important role. That is, quantum dots are there, and they are having a brighter emission, higher signal to noise ratio, and they are highly stable. That means during the diagnosis time, what happens, the organic dyes, they photo bleach, but quantum dots, they have reduced photo bleaching, and we can look into that particular problem for a longer time. Then it is having the nano biotechnology products are having better in vivo imaging, like they are having more, they are more sensitive. We can get a real-time feedback, and finally the miniaturization of equipments and instruments. As you can see, many equipments are available in the market that are using these kind of technologies. So when we talk about the technology, whether these type of medicines are available in the market, which are using the nano technology or nanobiotechnology, yes, there are many, and you can see since 1995, and still FDA is approving a lot of drugs. You can see lipid-based drugs. That means a particular drug is encapsulated in the lipid, and then it is given, and it is used for the treatment of Kaposi's sarcoma. The doxil is used for Kaposi's sarcoma, ovarian cancer, multiple myeloma. Then donoxome is used for Kaposi's sarcoma, and ambisome is for fungal and protozoal infections. Then there are polymer-based nanoparticles. Yes, again, you can see a lot of drugs for the treatment of hepatitis C infection, prostate cancer, lung cancer. So they are all available in the market. Then in organic nanoparticles, like if you are having an iron deficiency in chronic kidney disease, we can provide Venofer and Injectafer, which they are used for iron deficient anemia. So during COVID times, most of the people were thinking that whether the vaccine will be available within a stipulated time or not. And the nanotechnology has again played a very good role in developing COVID-19 vaccines. And you can see the Pfizer BioNTech, this is BNT162b2. For the first time in the history, an mRNA-based vaccine was developed using lipid nanoparticles, and it was given an emergency use authorization by the US FDA. And then these are available in the market. You can see the second one was Moderna mRNA vaccine, because these the mRNA vaccine or the DNA vaccines, we cannot give them directly. We have to encapsulate them in a drug delivery vehicle. So here in this case, they have used lipid nanoparticles, and they were given emergency use authorization. So what are the advantages? They are having relatively low cytotoxicity and immunogenicity, which is a big problem in the case of vaccines. The methods of these nanoparticles are very simple. We can synthesize them the synthesis method is very simple. Then we can tailor the drug release profile, and again enhance surface area. Then the protection from the nucleases. That means if we directly give mRNA or a DNA vaccine to the person or inside the cell, it will be degraded. Then there are many other advantages, including high encapsulation rate and improved transfection efficiency. Recently, in 2018, this was a very good news for the persons we are dealing with human molecular genetics, because what was considered that it is difficult to treat genetic disorders, but small interfering RNA, that is a siRNA-based siRNA-based drug, that is lipid-based drugs, got approval, and the name is Onpattro, and it is used for transthyretin-mediated amyloidosis for the treatment of this particular disorder. And this is the first small interfering RNA that was approved by the FDA. Recently, a second one got approved, and hopefully, for most of the genetic diseases in the future, we'll be having these kind of drugs. So, because this was more to the medicine field and the products which are normally for the treatment of the diseases, but you might have seen many of the nanobiotechnology products in the market, but you haven't got an idea whether it is using nanotechnology. And you can see Volini, they say that it's a nanogel, and it's a pain relieving gel. Most of you, not all, but some of you might have used it. It provides effective relief from muscle pain, strains, sprains, spasm, and cramps. And they say that it's a nanogel. That means a kind of nanotechnology is being used for the effective use of this particular nanogel. Then there is Fungisome, which is a liposome and nanotechnologies combination, available in India or made by an Indian company. It's a nanosomal amphotericin B. It's a broad spectrum drug, and it is potent even at a lower dose. and it treats systematic as well as superficial fungal infections. So they also claim that they are using nanotechnologies. Then nanocurcumin is available in the market. Companies Biotex available in India also. Nano-sized particle of curcumin is there, and they are immune booster, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and antiviral in nature. Then there is a cybograph, which is sterile synthetic nanocrystalline hydroxyapatite bone graft. Commonly, bone graft are material used in the dentistry world, and they are also using nanocrystalline HAP. Then there are smart bandages. They contain carbon nanotubes, and they can they could prevent infections. Not only they could prevent infections, they are continuous non-invasive way to detect and monitor an infection in a wound. And these all are available in the market. I mean, I don't know which company is promoting this, but soon you will be finding it in the market. Then Nanolife mouthwash. Again, this is an Indian company, Dhanvantri Nano Ayush Aushadhi Private Limited. This mouthwash contains silver and 100% nanoparticles. It's a natural aqueous solution, alcohol-free. Most of the mouthwashes they use alcohol in their product, but this is not used. They are claiming that they are not using any kind of alcohol, and it contains tulsi, turmeric, neem, and caruvelum, along with the silver nanoparticles. Then Coral Nano Silver Toothpaste Bubbleberry, which is a US product, and it is eco-safe, coral calcium, and they also claim that they are having a nano silver, and it is made with 11 ppm silver solution salt, sorry, and coral calcium, and xylitol is also used. This is a fluoride-free toothpaste. Again, that is gluten free, and they again say that it contains nano silver, and it is it cleans teeth effectively. Then comes Surface X disinfectant coating. It contains graphene nanosheet. It's an it is antimicrobial surface coating, and the efficacy lasts for 90 days. If you can, spray it on a particular surface, for example, metal surface or any other surface, it lasts for 90 days. It protects from any kind of viruses or bacteria upon contact, and then antimicrobial coating for all surfaces, and they claim that it destroys 99% of the germs and even the H1N1 and other viruses and bacteria. Then Nanolife Wound Care Gel. Again, it contains powerful silver, helps to promote natural wound healing, effective pain relief, cooling the wound, and again helping to reduce swelling and scarring. Then there are many hand sanitizers which are available in the market. They are using nanotechnology, and this one is Hand Sanitizer Plus, which they claim that it contains 100% nanoparticles, and it is capable of killing most of the disease-causing pathogenic germs. It is aqueous based, alcohol-free, and completely natural. Then a shampoo is also available for the carpet. You can see Nanolife N8, and again they claim that they contains 100% silver nanoparticles. It not only removes the stain, but it maintains the durability of the carpet. During COVID time, a lot of investment, a lot of research has gone into making masks. So N-Safe Floral Mask is also available in the market, which is having an active copper treated. It is self-sanitizing, reusable mask, and they claim that it is 99.7% bacterial filtration efficiency. It is having at 3 microns, and 98.2 particulate filtration efficiency at 0.3 microns. And it is having a 50 watt durability. And most of the companies that certify these masks, it is certified with them, like Citra, ISO, CE, GMP, and FDA. So this was an idea to just give you a brief introduction about how the nanobiotechnology is coming, and how it is going to affect our healthcare system. And you can see in the near future these technologies are going to be cost effective, and medical equipments, medical facilities will be available to the poor also. So these are the references. I would like to acknowledge all of them because without going through these, I would not have been possible to give this talk. My acknowledgements are due to Professor Nirmala S. Maurya ma'am, who is Vice Chancellor, Veer Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University, Jaunpur. My guide and supervisor, Professor Vandana Rai, former Dean and Head, Department of Biotechnology, Veer Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University, Jaunpur, and one of my friend, Professor M.N.V. Ravi Kumar, Distinguished University Research Professor and Founding Director of Center for Convergent Bioscience and Medicine, the University of Alabama, USA, because he was the person who introduced me to this field, and I'm very thankful to him. And all the authors, publication houses, and websites whose paper I have cited, so the acknowledgements are due. So finally, thank you all for attending the session. सत्र में भाग लेने के लिए आप सभी लोगों का धन्यवाद. और अमरविल कालंतु कोंता अनाई वरुक्कम नानरी. I find it I tried to give thank in Tamil also, and I asked Dr. Mahendra sir, and he helped me, and he modified it in another way. He said it will be better to say Paila Rangil Kalandu Konda Anai Varukkam Nanri. Thank you. Thanks.
बहुत
Thank you,
अच्छा,
sir.
बहुत बढ़िया.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. The last bit was like a tadka to the entire presentation, where you went multilingual.
Ma'am,
So-
our Vice Chancellor is there, and Pranam ma'am, and I hope she is always a source of inspiration, because at this age also, sometimes we feel tired, but she always encourages. She always, whenever we meet him, she says that she is learning something. So the kind of energy she is having, the kind of that energy encourages us to do something good for the university and for ourselves. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
बहुत अच्छा presentation आपका.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And I welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nirmala S. Maurya of Veer Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University. She has taken off time from a busy schedule to join the valedictory session of our workshop. Thank you so much, ma'am. Is Manoj Pandey sir here? Manoj sir? I don't think he has joined the gathering. So this brings us to the end of our 5 days online workshop. I would now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor ma'am to say a few words and convey her view about our workshop. Ma'am?
No, thank you. You continue your program. Thank you. बहुत अच्छा हुआ 5 दिन का, but you can continue your program. बस ठीक है.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. You joined us to hear the program. Thank you so much. Participants, this brings us to the end of the 5 days workshop. I thank wholeheartedly all our resource persons from day 1 to day 5 who took off time and joined us to give their presentation. I also thank the nodal officer, Dr. Manoj Pandey from Veer Bahadur Singh Purvanchal University, for being a constant support in spite of his bad health. I would then go on to thank our conveners and our deans of sciences, Dr. Noor Jahan ma'am and Dr. Ram Narayan sir, who were there continuously throughout all sessions. Even today, Noor Jahan ma'am was there, but of course they have meeting calls today, I think. So both of them I have been unable to join the meeting. And then last but not the least, of course, without their opportunities, we would have never been able to organize this. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor ma'am, Nirmala S. Maurya ma'am, and our GS General Secretary sir, Manjit Singh Nayyar ji, our principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan ji, and our advisor ma'am, that is from Guru Nanak College, Dr. Merlin Morris. All of them have been a constant support and motivation to go on conducting such workshop. And as Pradeep sir said, irrespective of their ages, they don't get tired. They keep giving us opportunities and pushing us to do our best. Now I see Dr. Manoj sir sitting there and smiling. Sir, would you like to add on something, please?
Not, ma'am.
Sir is also not doing well health-wise. The season is going on that way, so I would not push him any further. So, participants, thank you all for those who have been with us through all the 5 days, supporting us and listening to our workshops, having certain questions, interacting with us. So, thank you, participants. Keep motivating us. If you have suggestions, please feel free to contact us. Any workshops that you're looking for on certain topics, anything that you want to convey, you are always welcome to put in your viewpoints. I would also thank our media support, the GNC Media, that is Guru Nanak College Media Center, Dr. Satish, who has been constantly being, even on Sunday, in fact, he supported us through YouTube. So the YouTube live is being done through Guru Nanak College, and I thank Satish sir for his support even on a weekend. And of course, on the other side, we have Dr. Sunil sir, who has been constantly updating the news in the papers. He keeps sharing them with me. If required, I will share a few of it on the group also, the life sciences group which has been created. Every day he makes sure by the time it is 7, 8 in the evening, he has the news ready. It is already on blogs and it is already, and the next day it comes out in newspapers and he shares the media clippings with us. So Sunil sir, thank you so much for being so supportive. Thank you, Satish sir. Without media people, we wouldn't have gone anywhere. So I wholeheartedly thank the media. And if I have missed out on anyone, I am sorry, I apologize. But of course, without the support from all the people here, our program wouldn't have gone any further. So I thank all of you. The feedback link will be posted in the chat box. As usual, this is the last feedback, and participants are requested to wait for 1 week. That is starting from today. Just see for 1 week. Your certificates will come to your mailboxes. Kindly check your inbox and also your spam box, because when bulk certificates are issued, sometimes the certificates tend to go into the spam box. So please keep checking your inbox and spam box. Within 1 week, you will get your certificate. In case you do not get your certificate, please contact Dr. Manoj Kumar Pandey or contact me. My name is Dr. Dolly. Both our numbers are available in our groups. We will check your attendance and we will be putting in the certificate for you. So kindly cooperate for 1 week, okay? And when you're filling the feedback form, make sure you're filling the right email address, because many times the certificates are released and they bounce back into our boxes. We don't know your correct mail ID. So kindly please check the mail ID twice before you are submitting the form. So I'll be posting in the feedback link. Just give me 1 moment. Satish sir, you can also post it in YouTube chat box, please, Satish sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please check your chat boxes. The feedback link is available. Kindly fill in your mail IDs correctly, because the certificates would be checked and sent on those only. Sir, can we close the session? With the permission of Vice Chancellor, ma'am.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
Manoj, sir? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all of you.
थोड़ा सा ऊपर आ जाओ तो एक अच्छी क्लिप ले लें. ऊपर थोड़ा आ जाओ, तुम्हारा चेहरा अच्छा दिख रहा है. हाँ. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Pradeep, sir, for staying along. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, participants. The feedback links are in the chat boxes. Please pick up the links. And it will be available till about 5:30. Once the session closes, the links will be gone. So please copy the links and start filling the feedback form, please.
You are also advised to just check your name correctly, because once your name will be incorrect, then on certificate it will be going incorrect. Then also while filling the feedback form, just spell the correct name, spelling of the correct name, your name, designation, or affiliation of colleges, whatever.
The certificates will be released in English, so please fill your names in English so the names come out correctly, please.
And if possible, kindly fill it in capital letter.
Huh.
Capital letter in all the, like name, designation, organization in capital letters, all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.